She returned my lost wallet with everything inside, then whispered, "I almost kept one thing." I'd already canceled the cards. That's the first thing you do. You go through the mental list of everything in there, you pull up your banking app, you make the calls. It takes about 40 minutes, and by the end of it, you've accepted the loss and moved on to the logistics of replacing things. Driver's license. That's the DMV, which is its own particular kind of afternoon. Library card? Easy. The cash? $63, a Thursday's worth of walking around money. That's just gone. You don't get that back. You write it off, and you're more careful next time. I'd done all of that by Wednesday night. Lost the wallet Tuesday on the 14 bus heading back from a client meeting downtown. Realized it when I got to my apartment and went through my pockets twice before accepting what had happened. By Thursday morning, I was mostly past it. The knock came Friday around noon. I opened the door, and there was a woman I'd never seen before. Late 20s, maybe 30, dark hair pulled back, holding my wallet in both hands the way you hold something that doesn't belong to you. Like she'd been careful with it. "I found this on the 14th, she said. "Tuesday afternoon. There was a library card inside with your name, and the library has your address on file. They were nice about it. They looked it up for me." I stood there for a second. That's mine." She held it out. I took it. "Everything's in there," she said. "I didn't take anything." I opened it right there in the doorway. Cards, all of them, even the ones I'd already canceled, which meant I'd have to call back and uncancel, which was going to be its own thing. Cash, license, the loyalty card from the sandwich place on Burnside that I'd had for 2 years and never once remembered to use. All of it. "Thank you," I said. "Seriously." "You didn't have to. This is thank you." She nodded, took a small step back, the body language of someone wrapping up, starting to leave, and then she stopped. She looked at me for just a second, and then she looked down, and she said it quietly enough that I almost didn't hear it over the sound of someone's TV through the wall. "I almost kept one thing." Then she turned and walked down the hallway. I stood in my doorway, holding my wallet, and watched her go, and did not call after her because I had no idea what to say. If you've ever had someone hand you something back and leave you with more questions than you started with, stay with me. Subscribe if you want to know how this ends, because I promise you it goes somewhere I didn't expect, and like this if you're already trying to figure out what the one thing was. Tell me your first guess in the comments. I want to see how close you get. I went through the wallet 4 times, standing in my kitchen, sitting at my desk, standing at my kitchen counter again because I kept thinking I'd missed something. Cards in one pile, sorted by type. Cash counted. $43, not $63. I'd been off by 20 in my memory of what I'd been carrying, which is the kind of small humiliation that makes the whole thing worse. License, face up. Insurance card. The sandwich loyalty card. A business card from a contractor I'd met at a networking thing 8 months ago and never called. A folded CVS receipt from September. Everything accounted for. Nothing missing. I went through it a 5th time. I don't know what made me pull the debit card all the way out of its slot instead of just checking that it was there. Maybe just thoroughness, maybe something else. But I pulled it out, and behind it, pressed flat against the back of the slot in the particular way things get when they've been there a long time and the leather has shaped itself around them, was a photograph. Small, maybe 2 inches by 3, the kind that comes from one of those instant print apps, slightly glossy, the colors a little oversaturated the way phone photos get when you print them small. My brother Danny. Taken at a cookout at our parents' house in Bend, Oregon, 3 summers ago. I could tell by the light, that specific late-afternoon Pacific Northwest light that makes everything look like it's about to be remembered. He was laughing at something just off to the left of the frame. He always laughed like that, at things happening slightly out of frame, like the best part of any moment was never quite in the center of it. He died 6 months after that photo was taken. Brain aneurysm, 30 years old. The kind of thing that doesn't have a before and after so much as it just has a before, And then everything that comes after that is a different kind of time entirely. I had no memory of putting this photo in my wallet. I must have done it at some point in the months after. The need to have him somewhere close, somewhere I'd see him, the way you do things in grief that you don't fully register as decisions. And then at some point I'd stopped seeing it because it was always there, pressed behind the debit card, and I'd learned to reach past it without looking, the way you learn to navigate around furniture in the dark. 3 years. I'd been carrying my dead brother in my back pocket for 3 years, and I'd essentially forgotten he was there. I sat down at my kitchen table with the photo in my hand, and I looked at it for a long time. The way he was turned slightly, the laugh still in the middle of happening, the Oregon light. I hadn't looked at a photo of him in probably 18 months. I've gotten very efficient at not looking. If you've ever found something you'd been carrying so long you forgot it was there and felt it hit you like it was brand new, leave a comment. Just tell me you know that feeling. Because sitting at that table, I understood what the one thing was, and I understood why someone had held it and then put it back. And I needed to find her. Her name was Maya. She'd said it when I opened the door, a quick introduction before she held out the wallet, and I'd been too focused on the wallet to fully register it. She'd said she lived nearby, which in Portland could mean anything within a mile, but I had a neighborhood and a first name and a description, and I was, apparently, the kind of person who was going to use those things. I found her at the laundromat on Burnside on a Saturday afternoon. I'd walked past it twice without going in and then went in on the third pass because standing on the sidewalk, talking myself out of it was starting to feel worse than whatever happened if I was wrong. She was sitting in a plastic chair along the wall, reading something on her phone, a bag of laundry on the floor beside her. She looked up when I came in and I watched her place me, a half second of not recognizing, and then she did. "The wallet," she said. "The wallet," I said. I sat down in the chair one over from her, leaving one empty between us. The dryers ran. The place smelled like warm laundry and the specific detergent of a shared space, clean and slightly institutional. 3 other people in the room, none of them paying attention to us. "I need to know what the one thing was," I said. She looked at her phone screen for a second, then set it face down on her knee. "The photo," she said. I'd been right, and being right didn't make it easier to hear. "You looked at it," I said. "I held it for a while," she said. "I wasn't going to steal it, I want to be clear about that. I found the wallet on the seat, and most of what was in it was practical stuff. Cards, cash, the kind of things that belong to someone but don't tell you much about them. And then I found the photo." She paused. "He looked like someone important." "He was my brother," I said. "He died 3 years ago." She nodded once. Not with surprise, with something that looked like confirmation of something she'd already understood. "I have a brother too," she said. "Had. Here's what I want to ask you, and I mean it as a real question worth sitting with. If you'd found a stranger's wallet on a bus and inside it was a photo of someone you could tell was gone, would you have kept it? Not the cash, not the cards, just the photo. Tell me in the comments. I've thought about whether I would have, and I'm still not sure of the answer. Because what Maya did next is the part I keep coming back to. She told me about Eli. 14 months. That's how long he'd been gone when she found my wallet on the 14 bus on a Tuesday afternoon. 14 months since her brother Eli had died, and she'd spent most of those 14 months moving through Portland in the particular way of someone who'd made the decision, early and fast, to give everything away. His clothes, his books, the small things he'd kept in his apartment, the coffee mug, the desk lamp, the collection of guitar picks in a bowl by his door that she'd thought were stupid and sentimental when he was alive, and had put in a donation bag 3 weeks after he died, because keeping them felt like she was refusing to accept it. She'd been so determined to accept it. She'd thought that was what you were supposed to do. 14 months later, she understood she'd been wrong, but you can't undo a donation bag. "I've been carrying nothing of him," she said, "for over a year. I walk around this city and there's not a single thing in my pockets or my bag or my apartment that's his. I did that to myself and I can't fix it." She looked at her hands. And then I found a wallet on a bus with a photo of someone's brother inside, and I sat with it for 2 stops, and I thought about how the person who put that photo in there, even if they didn't remember doing it, even if they'd been reaching past it for years, they were still carrying him. They hadn't let go of him. And I thought, she stopped. I almost kept it because I wanted to know what that felt like. To carry someone. The dryers ran. Someone across the room added quarters to a machine, and it started up with a low thud. But I put it back, she said, because it wasn't mine to take, and because whoever was carrying it wasn't done carrying it yet, whether they knew it or not. I sat with that for a minute. I almost lost the photo a second time, I told her. When the wallet turned up, I'd almost just tossed it without opening it. I'd canceled the cards. I'd assumed the cash would be gone. I'd been about to write the whole thing off. I'd held it over a trash can for a second on Friday morning before I heard the knock. She went still when I said that. I almost didn't knock, she said. I almost left it with your building manager. Just dropped it off. No note, no anything. Why didn't you? She thought about it. Because of the photo, she said. I wanted to give it back to someone, not just leave it in a slot. I took the wallet out of my pocket, took out the debit card, took out the photo. I looked at it the way I hadn't let myself look at it since I'd found it an hour after she left. Really looked. Held it up in the fluorescent light of the laundromat, took in the specifics. The angle of his head. The way his left hand was raised slightly like he was making a point about something. The Oregon light behind him doing what Oregon light does. He looks like he's laughing at something just off to the side, Maya said. That was exactly what he was like, I said. My voice came out lower than I expected. The best stuff was always just outside the frame for him. We sat there for a while after that. Not talking, not performing anything, just 2 people in a laundromat in Portland with their respective grief out on the table between them, in the particular way that only happens when someone has already seen it and decided not to look away. I told her about Danny. Not the whole of it. You don't give someone the whole of it in a laundromat on a Saturday afternoon. But enough. The cookout where the photo was taken. The way he'd called me 3 days before he died about something completely ordinary, a podcast recommendation. And I'd been distracted and cut it short. The way I'd put his number in my phone under Do Not Delete and left it there for 2 years before I finally, one Thursday night, changed it to just his name. She listened the way people listen when they're not waiting for their turn, just taking it in. When I finished, she said, "You were still carrying him." "I didn't know I was," I said. "I know," she said. "That's why I put it back." I looked at the photo one more time. Then I put it back in the wallet. Not behind the debit card this time. Front slot, face out, the first thing you see when you open it. Most of this is true. A few details have been shaped for the telling. Some specifics, the exact order of certain conversations. An AI helped me find words for the parts I didn't know how to say on my own. But Danny is real. The photo is real. It's in the front slot of my wallet right now, where it's been for 4 months, and every time I open it I see him laughing at something just outside the frame. Maya and I exchanged numbers on the back of a dryer instruction sheet she pulled off the bulletin board by the door because neither of us had anything else to write on. I still have it somewhere in my apartment, creased and slightly soft from being folded. I haven't thrown it away. We got coffee once in October, then again in November. We are not a love story. I want to be clear about that because I know that's where people assume this is going. And it's not. And what we actually are is harder to name, but I think more durable. We are 2 people who lost brothers and found each other in the specific way that people find each other when they've been carrying the same weight in different pockets, and who have decided, without making it into a thing, to check in. I called my mom in October, first time in 4 months. We talked for an hour and 20 minutes. She told me she still had Danny's guitar picks in a bowl on her kitchen counter. She'd never donated them. I told her that was exactly right. The photo is in the front slot. That's the change that matters most. Not hidden behind something else, not something I'm reaching past. Just there, the first thing I see. Danny laughing at whatever's just off to the left of the frame. I've been thinking about what it means to carry something without knowing you're carrying it. The things we put in our pockets in a moment of not being ready to let go, and then learn to navigate around in the dark. Grief does that. It finds the back slots, the places you can reach past without looking, and it sits there for years being carried by someone who's gotten so good at not seeing it that they forget it's there. Maya saw it. She held it for 2 stops on the 14 bus, and then she put it back. And then she knocked on a stranger's door to return it properly. And then she told me the truth about what she'd almost done. That last part, the telling, is the thing I keep returning to. She didn't have to say anything. She could have handed over the wallet and walked away, and I would have been grateful, and that would have been the whole story. But she turned back and she said it, that quiet sentence in the hallway. And I've thought about why. I think she said it because she needed someone to know she'd seen it, that she'd held a photo of someone's brother and understood what it was, and put it back anyway. That she'd done the right thing with something she'd wanted to keep. I think she needed a witness to that, even a stranger, even just for a second in a hallway. We all need someone to see the thing we put back. To everyone who stayed with me all the way through this one, thank you. Not the automatic kind of thank you, the real kind, because this story asks something of you, and you gave it. If it brought something up, something in your own back pocket you've been reaching past, I hope you'll take it out and look at it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just look. Leave me a comment about something you've been carrying without knowing, or someone you've been carrying. I'll be here. Subscribe for more stories like this one, and share it with someone who might need permission to look at something they've been keeping in the back slot. See you next time.